I'm going to stop. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I so appreciate you guys taking the time, and I should say thank you for those who are from the Philippines for joining us this morning. This presentation is brought to us by Shiva Abohasani, and she is a speech and language pathologist, and she is the founder of ASD 123. And she's a very experienced speech and language pathologist with over 11 years of experience, where she has practiced in the US and in the UK. And she has both experience working with mainstream and special schools, private clinics, an array of various populations, and those who are on the autism spectrum. It's my honor that she has offered to give her time to Phoenicia and to all of you, and to share a little bit about an app that she has coming out, but also just a little bit around speech therapy access through technology, and to be able to give us some tips. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to her, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. And then I'm going to go on silent mode and let Shiva just run this. And then once we get to the end, I'll come back, and I love it. Any questions that you all have, please put it in the Q&A. I'll monitor it. And those of you who are on Facebook will also monitor anything in the chat underneath, or any messages. And we'll try to take those questions that you have. So thanks again for joining us. And so Shiva, you can share your screen, and I am going to go on mute and also hide my video.
Sure. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. So hi, everyone. I am so happy to be here and to present my topic, increasing speech therapy access through technology and tips. So a bit about me. Lisa did a great job just introducing me, give a little bit more information as well. But yeah, previously I've been working in the field for over 11 years. And during this time, I've had the opportunity to work in a variety of different settings and with different difficulties, such as Down syndrome, stuttering, stroke, and autism, which I found to be my main area of interest to be in. And I've also had the interest to work in different settings like schools, clinics, and nursing homes. And as Lisa mentioned, the opportunity to work in both here in the US as well as the UK, United Kingdom. And I'm now back in the States working in a clinic, as well as working on a startup, which is an app to aid the language development, language abilities of autistic children. And I'll go more into that later in the talk. So what is speech therapy? Speech therapy focuses on improving an individual's speech and abilities to understand and express language, including nonverbal language. And it can be structured through set tasks to complete via set activities, or unstructured through play, but still targeting areas that are being worked on. So how does speech therapy help? Well, we have the assessment initially. So first, the individual is assessed using formal testing or informally through play and activities to target key areas. And once areas of need are identified, the speech therapist will then set out goals to work on during sessions. So that's your treatment. And who is speech therapy for? It's for any age, birth until death. In each stage of life, there are areas that perhaps are affected or require a bit of assistance in developing. Now, here I have a speech and language developmental milestone chart. Before I go into some key items that I wanted to go over, just wanted to point out a few items, but something I want you to remember is that these are more milestone they're listed as norm or milestones, but I want you to remember that every child is different and every child develops differently. So these guidelines are not set in stone. So if it's been 12 months and 1 day and your child perhaps has not said their first word, not to feel anxious that, this is the structured end all be all. So I want you to remember that every child develops differently. Some things that I did want to just point out from the chart is that a child's first word occurs at 12 months of age. By 1 to 2 years, the child will also start to place two words together, and they'll also begin to follow one-step directions. And at 2 to 3 years, a child's vocabulary has grown to have a word for practically almost everything. And at 3 to 4 years of age, a child will begin to answer simple who or what questions and respond when you call them from a different room. Now, while expressive and receptive, or the speaking and understanding of language, is important, what's also important is the development of a child's social emotional skills, or the development of relationships and being able to interact with others. And a couple items that I wanted to point out here is that at 6 months, the child will start to respond to others' emotions. At 12 months, the child will wave bye-bye, and you may see some hand clapping. And at 36 months, there is turn taking occurring during games. Now, what should I do if my child is not yet speaking? So first, let's take a step back and let's take a deep breath, because understandably, many parents and caregivers can feel stressed or anxious if their child is not yet speaking. And while this is understandable, it's also important to remember that your child or a child can often feel the emotions of the parents. So if you as a parent are feeling stressed or anxious, your child will also feel that in some way. After you've taken a step back and taken a breath, what I would say is you can contact your child's primary care physician to set up an appointment and state what's happening with your child's language development. And at that point, you can also ask for a referral to be seen by a speech therapist. Now, this is the case in the US and in the UK. In the UK, you may be seen by a speech therapist in your local NHS trust. And you'd have a speech and language assessment before then determining if therapy is right for the child. The next thing I'd say to do is to incorporate the strategies that I'm going to provide in the next few slides to increase your child's speech and language skills. So in the next few slides, I'm going to go over some strategies that you can use with your child to increase speech and language skills. Now, the first one I want to present is pausing. It's something so simple, but it can actually be a bit difficult to do at times, because I'm sure as parents and caregivers, you know exactly what your child needs or wants to say. Now, what I mean by pausing is having that awkward amount of time before you say something for your child. So for example, if I have this pumpkin here, if you say, oh, what's that? Look, it's a, and have that awkward pause. And if they then label it, that's great. If not, what you could do is provide the initial sound, it's a p, and then pause again. And if they still don't respond or don't say the word, that's fine. You can then say, oh, it's a pumpkin. So pausing is very powerful because you're not just answering for your child, you're allowing them to have that extra time to develop what they want to say as well. And the next area is labeling. And pausing you can both do in the house, out of the house. It's great. All these strategies, actually, it doesn't have to be just strictly in the house. You can also do it when you're outside running errands as well. The next area next strategy is labeling. So labeling is great. And it's so powerful. So what I mean by labeling is that if your child wants the juice, instead of just giving your child the juice, you hold it, you pause, there's a bit of pausing as well. You label juice, and then you can give it to your child. As you're giving that juice to your child, you can say, "Ah, here's the juice." So you're labeling key things. And an example with this, let's say you're outside and you see a bird in the sky. "Ah, look, there's the bird. Hey, wow, where's the bird? There's the bird." So you're labeling things that are relevant to your child's environment. And the next strategy is indirect speaking. So sometimes children will also gain language in a indirect manner. Perhaps sometimes too much direction, too much on the child can be a bit burdensome, a bit heavy. So indirect language is a bit of a softer version as well, but you're still giving your child a heavy language environment in the home or outside. Now, what do I mean by indirect speaking? So let's say you have an object like a teddy bear or something, and you speak to that item. So if I have this pumpkin here again, I might say, "Oh, hey, pumpkin, it's really cold outside. Yeah, it's sunny." So you might speak indirectly to a teddy bear or what have you, but your child is there in that vicinity taking it all in. Now, at this time, you probably want to make sure the TV's off and radio is off as well, but it's really great to try. You could even try this. Let's say you're going on the door to knock on the door. Knock, knock, hello, hello, someone's there. Your child will be looking at you, but it's all indirect. They're all taking in that language from your environment indirectly. The next strategy I want to talk about is the use of motivating activities. So, motivating activities, think about things your child is interested in. They are the best things to utilize with them. So think bubbles, think, any bouncing balls, any characters from a TV show they really like. Those are going to get them want to communicate more, want to participate in some activities with you as well. So really feed into what they like. Descriptions, describing, it's also something really great you can do with your child. This can be done during play, or even if you're just in the home doing an activity, now I'm folding the towels and I'm going to stack it up. During play, if your child has a toy dog and they're doing something with it, you can describe what they are doing. "Oh, your dog is running," or "Your dog is sleeping." Or if you have that toy, you can take that toy and describe what you're having it do. "It's jumping, it's gonna sleep," etc. So description is really powerful to do as well. Also during TV shows, that's a great thing to do. So maybe you're sitting there with your child watching a TV show, and instead of just watching the TV show, find little moments to really comment or describe or highlight. "Oh no, the baby is crying," or "the ice cream fell down." So thinking about those key things that you can highlight and bring to life from the TV to the home environment. So that, as far as description. Now, music. Music is also really great. It's a great activity to unleash a different part of the brain. Singing songs that are slow and steady with repetitive words, those are really great to do with your child. So perhaps a song like "Row, Row, Row Your Boat," or "Itsy Bitsy Spider," things that you can sing in a slow manner, and you might have repetition of some keywords. Those are really great to have. So music is another really positive strategy and activity to utilize with your child. Now, this brings us to the following strategies, and repetition and consistency. So repetition is key. Think back to perhaps if you were learning a new language, that repetition can really aid with the learning of words because you're hearing that same word again and again. And consistency, what that means is you're keeping the same word. So you're not switching it up. Even if it has a word with the same meaning, you're keeping it very consistent, very similar. So are you using the words, the phrase clean up or tidy up with your child? So it might be really great to use one phrase such as clean up before, and making sure your child really understands that, before then switching it to a different phrase like tidy up, where it has the same meaning, but it's a different phrase to use. So having that repetition and consistency is another really great strategy to use. Mirror work. Now, mirror work is another great strategy that you can do. You can take a handheld mirror, or if you have a larger mirror somewhere in your home, you can make some funny faces. But while making the funny faces, you might have words you're saying, or might be like animal words like dog or teddy bear, or food words, maybe like cookie or juice. Um, or it could just be funny sounds. So we say consonant vowel sounds, CV syllables, maybe like ba, ma, ta, and your child is just there imitating what's happening on your face in the mirror. And what's great about the mirror is that your child will be able to visually see what's going on. So that really helps with the coordination for them to imitate you, because they're hearing you, and they're also going to see fully what's going on to attempt to imitate. So mirror work is really great as well. And above all, when trying out these strategies with your kids, think about your child's mood and what the environment's like. So when it's really great to have a clear environment free from distractions. So this means no TV on, no radio, not many toys around, thinking of a more of a clearer environment, and knowing what the best time of day is to try out some strategies with your child. You know when they're hungry or when they're tired, when's their right mood. So that is probably the most important thing before you go in to do some of the strategies. Now, this brings us to technology. Is it helpful or harmful? Well, let's face it, technology is all around us, and with anything, moderation is always key. So this means limiting how much time your child spends in front of a screen. Now, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, they recommend children ages 2 to 5 limit their screen time to 1 hour. And now, since they've said 1 hour, doesn't mean you have to have your child sit in front of a screen for a full 1 hour. It means that's a maximum. And if you do decide having screen time for your child, it's great to do in like little bursts. So perhaps 5 minutes, and then they do something with toys, or 10 minutes, and then they do a toy activity, and then 10 minutes in the evening. So thinking about what's best for your child and what works for your home environment. I'll go into some other tips as far as using technology with your child later in the talk as well. And technology today has actually made some pretty good advancements and continues to make more advancements than previous years. So it's actually becoming a bit more functional and really helping children. So it's becoming a bit more educational and assistive versus only games or watching movies. So it's really, really great. Now this brings us to the app that I've been working on called ASD123. It's an interactive learning platform to aid the language development of autistic children. The app that I've been working on is most different than the other apps that are out there, because we're using more voice technology rather than touch technology, because we really want to drive that motivation for the child to want to interact, want to use their voice in activities we have. And the best thing is that it's all free to use. I'll have the links later in the talk as well. Now, in the next few slides, I will demonstrate about a little bit more about how the app, some key features of the app and some games. And then after that, we'll have a live trial of the game as well, one activity. So I'm just gonna go over here.
Hi there. Welcome to the world of ASD 123. We are all about interactivity and learning. Here, you can power our games using your voice. Watch this. Go. Wasn't that cool? I just used my voice to play. Now watch this. Up, up, left, up. Check this out. Right, 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 right. Look at this. Go. Playing our games provides you with learning to help you with your language and communication skills. Your voice is our command. And the most important thing to remember when playing our games is to have fun.
So we really want to strive for that voice interaction. So not having a child just sitting there quietly tapping, but using their voice. And in the next slide, we have one of our games here. So the trains, which are very popular with kiddos. So thinking about activities that kids like, working in the field, trains were always popular and a big hit. So I knew I had to have an activity with trains. And here the child would just say go and the train would go. And there's also a few levels. So after this one, there's another level where then the train, there are two trains and they would say go to that. So I'll just show this little video. And this is like the second level where the child would say go once for one and then go for the other, and the key is for them not to hit each other or not to crash. And then this is our ball game that I'll show. Now in this one, it will show how we wanted this game to be played as far as using the voice commands.
Welcome to the game goalpost. Say up, jump, go, start, or move to move the ball up. Say left to move the ball to the left, and right to move the ball to the right. The goal of the game is to move these balls using these commands until the ball rests on top of the tree. Up, 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 left, up, left. Good luck.
So really striving to have also a gamification where, you know, winning and having the child want to be motivated to get the ball to the top of the tree, or have there being some movement for the activities as well, as far as the ball and getting it to the tree. Now, what I'll do now is just demonstrate the app live. I'll just do one little game, and then we'll continue on the next slides. So here is kind of how it looks when you sign up. And like I mentioned, it's all free. So we'll go bowling and just click on the activity there. And kind of click just to enter one. Hopefully you can all see this, but so we've got little interactions there. And here you just say, go. Go. Let's see. Go. So you'd be able to use your voice to power the games, which is exactly what I really saw a pain point for. So really wanted that interaction and interactivity for children to have. Okay, so these are some other apps that can be helpful. One is called the Autismo app, and that offers educational activities for children, and the Imagination or MITA app, which aids in the child's learning activities. Now, I believe they have some free options and then some perhaps in-app paid options as well. but they are quite popular and helpful. So I mentioned earlier, I wanted to discuss some tips for using apps with your child, because, you know, as I mentioned, technology is everywhere. And I just think there's some tips and strategies that can be used to really enhance the technology that's being used. So the first thing I'd say is regarding parent and carer involvement. So I'd say not just give the child the tablet or the smartphone and have them be on their own, but instead join them, comment, and point out things in the app. So you're really being a part of the activities with your child. As far as moderation, really remember moderation. So it's kind of very key to utilizing the apps. And when you set a time to end the app use with your child, it's really important to stick to that time, because if you then go over 1 minute or 2 minutes, then your child may feel, oh, I can get a few more minutes and a few more minutes. So having that moderation and a bit of structure is really great when using technology with your child. And build words from the app to real life. So what I mean by this is make the words from the app you hear come to life in your child's home environment. So perhaps in one of the activities we have, the ball one, where we would say up, perhaps the child is starting to say up and they're saying up for the ball to go up. And perhaps then they carry over from just saying in an app to actually, instead of just raising their hands to be lifted up, they may actually start to say up while lifting their hands to communicate. So really, if you hear a word from the apps, or any games they like to play, bring them to life, bring them into the home environment, make them come alive. And finally, what I think is really helpful to have is a countdown. So having a countdown to finish tech time is really great. So maybe at 5 minutes, you might say 5 minutes before we say bye-bye to tablet. Then again, at 2 minutes, you might say, oh, 2 more minutes, and then it's tablet time is finished. Then you could do a countdown from 5. What I really recommend is at the end, have a countdown from 5 with your fingers to finish the task. So you might go like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, finished. And your child will maybe not like that. They might be crying, but they'll start to understand this is the countdown. This means that tech time is finished. So having that structure. So I think that's really positive to do and to have, instead of just perhaps taking away an iPad or something your child really likes, having that countdown to get them prepared that it's coming to an end soon. So some key pieces of information to take away. I want you to really remember that each child is unique. Each child develops differently, and the norms are definitely, and norms and milestones are not set in stone. Just they're great pieces of advice and resources to remember, but not set in stone, meaning, it's 12 months and 1 day, my child is not doing this. So remember, each child develops differently. You can build, as far as speech therapy techniques, they can be built into your day. You can build strategies to work on your child's speech and language skills in the home and outside at any time. You don't need any fancy equipment or any set time to do it. You can build it into your day. We communicate, we use language all the time, 24/7. So finding the right times that works in your day-to-day life is really key to utilize the strategies. And tech can definitely be helpful if used in the right way. And here is my contact information. So it's shiva@asd123.org. Feel free to try out my app. Like I mentioned, it's all free. And reach out with any questions, any likes, dislikes, or opinions on it. I would absolutely love to hear from you. I really want this to be something helpful and beneficial. And it's really helpful to have you guys try it out and let me know your thoughts if it's something that's useful and can assist. And that's what I want the most. And some information on where to find our app. It's both on the Google Play and App Store. I forgot to mention for the Apple version, we actually have 2 extra games on it. We have one where you can actually, it's a game with a bus. You can actually input a different word, and if you're working on a keyword with your child, up to 6 to 8 words, you can type it in. So instead of stop and go, you can change it to fast and slow, or go bus if you're working on 2 words. And there's another game as well where we have AR, or augmented reality. So what this means is you point your camera, well, it's in the app, you point the camera to a wall, and then you see a white circle pop up, and you then tap that white circle and you'll see a dartboard show up. And then you'll have a dart as well. And you can say go to the dart to go. And with this, you can also change the word. So it doesn't have to be go, but you can also say maybe, fast, or switch the word. You can type it in 6 to 8 letters as well. So feel free to try those out. We are also on social media. We have a Twitter. We're ASD123_LTD. We have a LinkedIn page. We have an Instagram page, ASD_123_LTD. And recently we just started a Facebook page as well. So ASD123. And I also write articles on Medium from time to time. So if you're interested in hearing more about, tips and resources, you feel free to check that out as well. So thanks so much. And that's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Shiva. If you don't mind stopping the share really quick, because then I can also just see if we have any questions from anyone. We'll give it a minute and have them put it in the Q&A. Would be wonderful. That'd be great. Any questions from anyone? You can put it in the chat, or you can put it in the Q&A. And if we don't have anyone, but I do want to give folks a minute to think about anything. It was so thorough. I could see why that we may not have any questions, because I think it was very succinct and a wealth of information that you had shared with us. And we so appreciate it, Shiva. Yeah, it was great. So with that, I don't see anything coming in the Q&A. And I know Robbie is also checking the Facebook, and I saw like we had about over at this time about 115 people that were watching live. And so not sure if we have any questions there. I looked a minute ago and didn't see anything. So all right, well, looks like no questions. So with that, I'm going to close this out, and I just want to sincerely again thank you, Shiva. Thank you all for joining. I'm just so thrilled that all of you are joining to learn and to take advantage of these workshops that are sponsored through Phoenicia and our donors who make these available, and folks like Shiva who volunteers her time to make this accessible to everyone. So with that, good morning, good night, good afternoon, wherever you all are, and take care. And we will have more webinars coming over the next month. So keep watching our Facebook page and see what we have to offer. And please do not forget to download the free app for you, for your kiddos, if you're a teacher. Again, it's an amazing app and a great opportunity to drive the communication and speech with our folks. And we're getting a nice thank you in the chat. So really appreciate that. All right, everyone, take care. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.